13 in a row for your 50-48 Boston Red Sox. A 6-1 win at Fenway Park to close off the series against the American League leading Tampa Bay Rays. Can you believe it? I certainly can't, and I was in attendance. I saw it with my own eyes. They could have just been making it up. I can't believe. I mean, the title of this stream is "This is the American League leader?" Question mark. Because how? That team's not very good. I thought McClanahan was decent, but seriously, not a very impressive team all the way through. I don't believe the Rays are really skidding. I think this is who they are. They're not missing guys. Like, this is their formula. I talked about it in the preview on Thursday on the first episode of the Morning Drive. This is their formula. They've got 3 top hitters. They've got guys that try to manufacture runs, i.e. Chandler Simpson. They pitch well. They don't pitch better than your MF and Boston Red Sox. They simply don't. We talked about the first 2 games. I was going to the game yesterday, so there wasn't an episode. So this is Morning Drive 3 with Thomas Curtis. Let's get right into it, as I already did. We sit down. So I go to the game yesterday. Shout out to Caden for driving. Caden Summer Tucker at the game with me, sitting in the right field bleachers. We sit down. We bet the Nerfy because McClanahan and Sonny Gray were going. Those are 2 really good pitchers. That smacked. Unfortunately, the rest of the parlay didn't hit. But Nerfy hits. We sit down for the top of the second, or we're still sitting. We never got up, I suppose. Victor Mesa Jr. already has a home run in this series. Hits a laser. I think that ball was hit 110 miles an hour into right center. Yeah, I'm looking at it backwards from the bleachers, but right center field. That's a ball Seti usually gets to. Kind of takes a weird banana path to it. Probably thought it was hit a little less hard because it came off of Victor Mesa's bat. But the ball got to the wall, and you don't see that skip very often, where it hits that bullpen wall and then skips into the triangle. Mesa's fast enough. The most encouraging part of that play, even though it was an inside the park home run to go down 1-0, the relay was flawless, completely flawless. Rafaela, obviously, we know, is a fantastic outfielder. Hits the cutoff man. It was Romy Gonzalez right in his glove, right in the pocket. And Romy made a really good throw, pretty much shot Mesa down at the plate. Wong just drops the ball. So I'm looking at the replay up over my right shoulder. I thought he was out. Everybody thinks he's out. We all react. Should be out. We all kind of cheer. Ball gets replayed. Obviously, Wong drops it. But that's really encouraging. This is a team that's played good defense all year. But for the Red Sox, they are dumb. They are a stupid team. Not right now, not in the last 13 games, but they've been a stupid team for 4 years now. That ball skips into the triangle. Rafaela probably slips if they're not on this streak. And if he does get it to Gonzalez, Gonzalez probably takes 1 step and twists his ankle and doesn't make the throw. Or he does throw it and he hits the backstop in the air. But instead, they relay it perfectly. It's a Wong drop on a play like that where it's bang, bang. You can't be mad at Wong. Inside the park home runs your only run of the game for the Tampa Bay Rays. You get into the bottom of the second. Monasterio doubles Durbin in because, of course, Durbin's on base. And he manufactured that run. We talk about manufacturing runs like the Rays do. He steals second. Bad throw from the catcher, Fiducia? Was he the catcher the other day? Yesterday? Ooh, I think it was Fiducia. I'm looking up the box score right now. Yeah, Fiducia. I'd never heard of this guy. He's hitting 218, 600 OPS. Overthrows second base. Durbin, as smoothly as he slid towards the base, he was up and running, rounding second into third. So exciting. I love watching base running like that from a team or an organization that under Cora was extremely stagnant. It felt like they were playing base to base. They weren't putting pressure on the opposing defense as much. The Chad Sox have been the total opposite of that. Hit and runs. steals. Yeah, all these things that Cora was looking for power, and he was looking to go gap to gap to get, a double and then a double for a run. I think they're turning singles into runs more often, especially during this streak. And one run is so great when you've got the pitching staff that the Sox do. In the next inning, I believe it was the third, Durbin hits that ball smoked to Caminero. Smoked. Caminero comes up and throwing because there was only one out. He hits Abreu in the back as he slides into home. Caminero's not a great third baseman. He's probably projects to be that Devers first base DH kind of thing once he gets a little older. But it wasn't a bad play by him. He scooped it, picked it, and made a throw. Abreu does the right thing. I'm just getting a vision of this now. I've seen him do that same thing where he slides in and throws his hands up like Verdugo used to do. I saw him do that in Portland. I feel like I saw Abreu do a lot of the things he's doing now in Portland, and I'll keep saying it. And then a Romy ground out scores Contreras. That makes it 4-1 Red Sox. And at that point, I was like, wow, this is 13 in a row. There's no way we lose this game. Contreras, a couple innings later, adds that bomb to right center, mostly just center field, a little to the right of the triangle, which is why I say right center. One section over from us. Great. It was a couple rows down. Pretty exciting stuff. A great game to be at. Sonny Gray didn't even really have his best stuff. 4 walks. And when you talk about Sonny Gray's not having his best stuff, he still gives you 6 innings, 1 earned. Still with 5 Ks. The 5-4 K to walk is concerning, but this is the Rays, don't strike out at a high clip. So Sonny Gray, 12-1 for Sonny Gray. Unbelievable stuff. I thought he pitched a really good game. He was pitching from the stretch a lot of the time because he had base runners, 9 base runners, minus the Misa inside the park, so 8. Just such a pro. 36 years old. He's been doing it forever. I went to look at his fan graphs because he's down to a 2.48 ERA, 3.65 FIP, 8 Ks per 9 with 3 walks per 9. But you see his career log, and he goes all the way back to 2013. Thinking about 2013, I was 7 years old. 7 years old. I'm 20 now. So Sonny Gray's been doing it a long, long time, and this is exactly who you traded for. Those Cardinals trades, as much flack as Breslow gets, fleece of the Cardinals. I saw Brandon Clark, one of the guys we traded for Sonny Gray. I think he was pretty much the headliner, Brandon Clark. Big lefty, threw 103 down in high A. Who cares? We got 3 of those guys, I bet. They don't have Sonny Gray pitching huge games for 13-game win streak extensions. Then the bullpen, after those 6 innings, it was Greg Weitzer. I saw Bayo warm up a little bit. That was in the 5th inning when Gray his pitch count was at 70 or so. So I see Bayo warming up. I look over to Cade and I kind of think, hey, Bayo for 4 completely reset the bullpen before we get into an Orioles series, which we'll talk about later. That team's streaking. They've won 7 in a row. So you're going to need these guys against a team whose bats are still a little struggling, but these are going to be close games. Straight up. That's a guarantee. You're going to need the bullpen. But instead, Gray gets you 6. So they go to Weitzer for 1, gave up a hit and a strikeout. Giovanni Moran was fantastic. He was traded for Mickey Gasper, and then we got Gasper back after he was DFA'd. Masterful. Giovanni Moran, really good pitcher. He's been awesome from the left side for a position that's depleted, right? There aren't good left-handed relievers going around the league just like anybody, right? So Giovanni Moran's been spectacular. And then Ryan Watson, who cares? 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Closes it out. He closes out the 13th game of the win streak. I always go in. I've got a pretty good sheet. I mean, this is a 3-page sheet today. I feel like I do a decent job prepping, but then I get curious. So now we're going to go to Baseball Savant just to check out Giovanni Moran's, what he, yeah, he's got a 2.8 xERA, doesn't get hard hit, 97th percentile in that category, 85th percentile in K percentage, 93rd percentile in whiff. This is a really, really valuable bullpen arm, 29 years old, 2015 draft pick. Interesting. I'd like to see his run values. Oh well. He doesn't really give up much hard contact from the left side, and to have a guy that can go in. I wonder. Okay, now I'm curious about his splits. That would be a Fangraphs thing. I'm sorry. Now I'm just doing research that I could have done before, but I didn't think I would get this into Giovanni Moran. Splits. Here we go. It's a 183 WOBA, a 182 OBP, 115 average against left-handers. He's given up 4 earned runs against lefties, 8 against righties. This is a really valuable guy to have in your bullpen, is kind of the moral of the story there with Giovanni Moran. And then Watson, again, who cares? Probably the odd guy out because Cutter and Tanner are both starting to ramp up. I saw Tanner is throwing 2 bullpens a week via Bradfo, and then Cutter's up to 100 feet throwing. So those guys are coming. We've got reinforcements coming pitching-wise. Early too, Ranger Suarez, I'm really kind of not dreading, but hoping this is going to be a good update from Ranger Suarez. He threw yesterday, Chad Tracy said, and could be in line to throw Tuesday, as we'll get into that Orioles series here in a little bit. We've got reinforcements coming pitching-wise. Extra game notes on this one. Really a pretty simple game, probably not one that I'd be super excited to talk about outside of the win streak and outside of I was there. But the Rays' top 3 was 2 for 14 yesterday with 2 singles. They struck out 5 times. Shout out to Sonny Gray and, I mean, the rest of the bullpen, right? But they really handled this top 3. And then once you get past that top 3, the bottom 6 in the Rays order don't scare you. Every name. Taylor Walls batted cleanup for them yesterday. Taylor Walls. He's got a 517 OPS or something like that. He's not a good hitter hitting cleanup. Maybe he's a little bit hot. Kevin Cash wants him in there. You think Sonny Gray cares about Taylor Walls? No. After those top 3, Sonny Gray could kind of go on autopilot and get through the bottom of that order. Rafaela, Abreu, and Contreras, a 765 OPS, a 795 OPS, and a 931 OPS. When's the conversation about the Red Sox top 3 hitters versus the Rays top 3 hitters going to happen? Because I've been so vocal about, wow, the Rays might have one of the best top 3s in baseball with Yandy, Aranda, and Caminero. True. Shoot. Cedon, Willier, and Contreras, when you say those names in the same sentences, those other 3 are... Ooh. No, man. These are good hitters at the top of an order that's been really productive for coming up on a month. If the Rays slide again, the Rays have Philly. No, sorry, that's the Dodgers. The Rays have Toronto at Toronto. If Toronto turns it on a little bit and can capitalize on a skidding Rays team, we could be talking about the Yankees or the Red Sox in first place of the AL East not too long from now. It's 2-6 games. The Yankees are, even though they lost a couple of games to the Dodgers, they're not far out of the AL East, which I hate to say, but the Red Sox 6 games out and much, much hotter. Another thing, I'm loving Andrew Monasterio against lefties, 268, 350, 577, a 927 OPS. I wonder how that stacks up against other hitters against a single split. It's a 151 OPS plus when he's in there against lefties. A really, really professional at bat, even more than that, an impact bat against lefties, someone that's great to have on the bench. I think I'm enjoying the platoon between him and Chang because Chang's playing great defense, and it feels like he's got kind of a timely hit gene. He's got RBIs in big spots. I think immediately back to that Mets series where he had a 2 RBI single. He had an RBI in the Yankees game I went to coming up on a month ago. These are that shortstop tandem is just so much better than what Trevor Story was giving you to start the year. Tucker asked me what's the reason for this turnaround? Did they just get hot? Like, what's going on? The only explanation is the holes are not as bad. Marcelo Meyer's not in your lineup, hitting basically 0, 150, right? Trevor Story's not in your lineup with a sports hernia for 2 months. And it literally looked painful for him to swing the bat. I thought it was just because he was terrible. My bad for assuming, Trevor. But he's been terrible. The zeros just aren't as bad. Jahmai Jones at the top of the order instead of Jarren Duran, who's hitting what, like 190, and his OPS is 5 something. He's not a good hitter, but at least we're not shoehorning him in to the number 1 spot in the lineup, a la Mickey Gasper, also not a major league hitter. We've got big league at bats, especially against lefties, if it's going to be Jahmai Jones. I'm curious. The Orioles are going to throw 3 righties, so we'll see what this right-handed lineup can do. But Monasterio against lefties been extremely pleasant. Speaking of the Monasterio Durbin trade, we also got Anthony Siegler. Quick story: we were outside of Bar Taco waiting for our table, watching the World Cup. After the game, just kind of hanging out. I look over, I see a guy who I definitely recognize. I'm like, who is that? Not who is that, but let him get closer to me. My eyesight's not very great. I see Anthony Siegler and his girlfriend. That's pretty cool. So I say, what's up? Tony Siegels chuckled, said, what's up? That was cool. Obviously, not going to ask for an autograph or anything, right? Not a weirdo. But that was a cool little story. We also saw Narvaez at Yard House across the street, checking in on tables. So that was cool. It's cool to be in Boston, especially when the team is buzzing, the fans are buzzing like this. Guys are excited to go, be with their families after games. So that was cool. Definitely cool. 3 best records in the AL: the Yankees, White Sox, and the Rays. You know what they have in common? Oh, they're mid. Yeah, I agree. But the Red Sox are 10-0 against them this month, in the last month. 10-0. Like, they don't lose. They haven't lost to the top 3 in the American League. I'm starting to push this, are we the best team in the American League agenda. You have to. You simply have. With this stretch, with the way the pitching has come together, the timely hitting, we have names. We have Contreras. We have Abreu. We have Rafaela. We have Durant. No. No, we don't. But this is a team that's definitely, I don't think this is it. I don't think they say lose today, this evening against the streaking Orioles, and they go back to being who they are. I think with health, this is who the Red Sox are. It's not a 13-0 every 13 games team. They're better than 2 games above 500. You know what I mean? That hole was so deep, but they've dug themselves out of it, and they hold a wild card spot by a game and a half. It's not by half a game or anything. This is, a decent grasp on a wild card spot, which you never would have thought this team was ever going to see in 2026, and yet here they do. So there's the Rays series, a sweep. Just keep sweeping, man. Just keep sweeping. Moving on to the Orioles series preview. We'll do this. We'll do some World Cup. We'll talk about the standings. And I think that'll be it. But, yeah, let's get into the Red Sox and Orioles series here right now. The pitching matchups today at Dang, I should really have the times, huh? Today, this evening, Peyton Tolley 5-6 with a 3-1-1. Versus Shane Baz 4-9. They've lost 9 Shane Baz stats. Shane Baz starts. He's got a 4-1-1, a whole earned run higher than Peyton Tolley. Tuesday's TBD for the Sox against Kyle Bradish, just signed a big extension, bought out a couple years of arbitration with the Orioles. And then Wednesday, Jake Bennett, can't wait to watch him pitch. Versus Dean Kramer, he's 1-2 with a 4.15. The TBD on Tuesday likely could be Ranger if we get a good report here this afternoon or maybe even this morning. Like I mentioned, threw off the mound yesterday. Tracy said the update would come today, and if it's not, it could be Eduardo Rivera, the opener, and then Bayo for some bulk. It's a good team. It's a good squad. That's a good tandem. Rivera 3 2/3 in his last outing against the Mets, only 1 hit on July 11th, and then Bayo the next day 4 1/3 after Tolley gave up that 1 home run, 5 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. So if that's your tandem, I'm concerned because that means we didn't get a good report on Ranger. But I'm not concerned about the two guys pitching in that game against an Orioles offense who's 10-3 in July. The Orioles as a team, not just the offense. But it's not because of their bats. The rotation has a 2.4 ERA in their last 7. They've got the best rotation ERA in the American League since May 22nd at a 3.02. But their names aren't, super, super hot like kind of the Sox are a little bit. Pete Alonso and Gunnar Henderson they were 1 for 22 against the Astros this weekend. Dylan Beavers 8 for 20 with a 4.55 OBP in his last 7. I only bring that up to say he got hit by pitch on the foot yesterday, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's down at least a game this series. And I kind of get this bats are struggling narrative from Jacob Calvin Meyer on Twitter, who Baltimore Sun beat reporter, fully just noted that in one of his tweets that they are struggling. They are kind of hit with the injury bug a little bit too. Sam Basayo exited yesterday with right shoulder discomfort. He's a Roman Empire on and off kind of guy. Adley Rutschman, I drafted him. Also on the roster currently because my catching situation is just so bad. Both guys went down. Rutschman with left wrist discomfort. He was dressed yesterday but did not play. And then Basayo, you could see who's their manager? Craig Albernez, I think it is. He could be day-to-day or he could need a 10-day stint. So you almost don't expect to see Samuel Basayo this evening or maybe the rest of the series, one of their biggest power bats. So that's a key thing to miss. He hits cleanup for them a lot. I don't know the exact number of times he's hit cleanup for them. But I know it's a 7-game win streak. I don't believe it's against teams that I should be as scared about. The Orioles, they swept the Astros, who are kind of in the playoffs a little bit, but like how much do you care about the Astros in the grand scheme of things in the AL? And then they sweep the Royals. And they won the last game of that Cubs series after losing the first 2. They lost 2 to the White Sox at the end of June, lost 2 to the Nats. So they kind of had that same sort of stretch as we did, and we performed better than them. They are coming off an Astros and a Royals streak. We just swept the first place Rays. So if that's any indication, the Red Sox should be in good shape for sure. At the end of the day, they're 4th place in the AL East. How scary are the Orioles? I love to be able to talk like that because we were on a 13-game win streak. I was talking about the Rockies like, holy shit, are we going to get 1 at the end of June, middle of June? And now I can kind of discard a 7-game win streak because of their strength of schedule compared to ours. In the standings, not much National League talk because it's a lot of Red Sox talk. So in the American League, the Rays lead by a game and a half. The Yankees have a four and a half. A game and a half back. Excuse me. Of the Rays for second place. Oh, but they're in the wild card. It's the Rays, White Sox, and Rangers atop the American League in the playoffs. And then it's the Yankees, White Sox. Jesus, this is bad. Let me go over this again. The Rays lead the American League. The White Sox in second place. Texas Rangers in third because they hold the AL West. Then the Yankees, who have the second best record in the American League, are the first wild card. They've got a 4.5 game grasp on that. The Guardians behind them are up a game on the Red Sox for the second wild card spot, and the Red Sox a game ahead of the Seattle Mariners for the third wild card spot. The Orioles all the way up into it. They're 2 games back of the wild card. The Twins down to 49 and 51. They're 2 games back. The Astros, after getting swept, 4.5 back. Blue Jays 4.5 back. Tigers 4.5 back. And the A's, how are your A's 8.5 back? Now for the National League, much easier to look at. I don't know why it was put out like that on MLB.com, but it's the Dodgers 63 and 37, baseball's best record by only half a game because Milwaukee's 62 and 37. They are second in the NL. How do you feel to be Milwaukee? If you were in the American League, you'd be 6 games up for first place, but instead you're in the NL in second place. Atlanta 57 and 41. They're 5 games back. This was a team that had baseball's best record. It was a tough June for them and not exactly a great July. They're 5 games back at first place. Chicago, the Cubs, 4.5 up on the first wild card spot. Philadelphia with a good grasp, third. 3 games up on second, sorry. And then St. Louis and Miami and Pittsburgh are tied with a .520 win percentage. All teams with different records, 51 and 47 or 52 and 48 for the third place wild card spot. Diamondbacks, Nationals, Padres all in it. The Reds and Giants essentially out of it, along with the Mets and Cardinals. There are your standings in both leagues. Yeah, that's kind of what I got for the MLB. I haven't really gone around this late. I haven't thought about it, because I'm really thinking about the Sox as of right now. World Cup final, Spain wins it. Congratulations. Thank God they beat Argentina. I didn't want to see Argentina win. I'm not a Messi hater. I do like watching Messi play, but I kind of thought England deserved to be there. Overall, you don't take my opinion with a grain of salt. Ferran Torres, how cool is that? You get to have the game winner in overtime. How boring was that game? We watched a lot of it waiting for our table, and then while we were at our table at Bartaco. How boring. Like, who cares? It got exciting a couple times when he had some shots on goal. I don't care. Where's the Hall of Fame game? We're coming up on it. It's July 20th. That'll be at the end of July, beginning of August? That's what we are waiting for, is the Hall of Fame game. Yeah, man, 13 in a row for Boston. I don't know how you can't be pumped about this. I feel like everybody's talking to me about this team when a month ago they didn't even realize baseball was in season. So vibes are high in New England, in and around Boston for sure. That won't be my last game I go to. I can tell you what. Don't tell my bank account, but I'll be at another one. Hopefully a couple more because the Red Sox are rolling. That's Morning Drive, episode 3. Thank you so much for listening. If you don't mind, drop a like, drop a comment. Like to see people watching these videos, listening. We're on Spotify now. I'm trying to get on Apple. Right now, I believe Spotify is just the Thomas Curtis podcast. If you'd like to go follow that, if you'd rather listen on audio only. I should have mentioned that at the top of the episode. That is where you can find us. Thomas Curtis QU on Twitter if you want to follow my game by game tweets, even though we'll talk about these games the morning after a majority of the time. So yeah, that's episode 3. See you tomorrow, probably for episode 4. That's all.